This is really for children, and particularly for children that grew up in a computer-based background, or if you will, communicating using computers because we're biocomputers, right? And so I would say to children that when I was 4 years of age, I realized, you know what a map is, right? Right. In the classrooms that I grew up with, usually was a big map. It was called a map. You have different kinds of maps, like a relief map, a topo map. You know what a map and compass is, right? To be able to get your headings and degrees and minutes and time and duration, right? And that's basic stuff that I was exposed to when I was a children. But when you realize what a map is and a map template is, right, based on lines of communication or grid lines, just like when you look at a map, if you pull out one of those old, well, they still make them, which were called euphemistically trucker maps. That a lot of truckers that are wanting to save time, because time is energy and energy is money, the way that that energy is defined as money with numbers, right, between two planetary poles, right, trying to maintain the balance between negative and positive magnetic polarity, right? And so when you think of your DNA, you know, your DNA is a map, which is based on what? Coordinates, right? On the longitude and the latitude of the planetary grid mechanics. So I realized when I was a child that the template that I'm running does not fit the grid width network. That means the grid network's fucked up, because I realized that I'm not experiencing what I'm supposed to be experiencing, which is what? The one. Okay, so you realize you're one anchored into the magnetosphere of a planetary system whose grid is all fucked up. Because you realize that I got a connection to the one, which is pre-phased matter consciousness, right? Phasing in and out of matter that we see in our mirror. But you realize by virtue of mapping the terrain, which is a scan, scanning the terrain, which is mapping the terrain, which are the lines of communication between software operating systems and a planetary consciousness software motherboard. So you realize in the most basic, simplest way of a base platform, a motherboard, the motherboard's broken. The system's broken. And that's because the lines of the communication are not open, which is because of all the distortions. So that's the distortions in the codes, with the distortion in the math, which is the distortion in the music that we play. So music is math, so music is math in spirit, which is geometry, which is geographical. So that would be a GUI, right? A graphical user interface. So the graphical user interface that we're using as a template, right, in a broken motherboard or a broken grid means that the lines of communication for all of us to be able to communicate with each other, what we all experience was experiencing one, which is eternity, eternal unconditional love. So we're experiencing that. So what's one of the best ways that you can repair a grid map? A planetary star map, right? A galactic and a universal star map, stargates, right? Would be guardians that have the original template, right? Because you got to have the original template, right? In order to do what? Make the code corrections, make the math corrections, reset the template, right? To its original design that allows everybody to communicate with each other through the lines of communication, which are the codes, right? Upon which we're all experiencing a motherboard that's been what? Repaired or reset back to its original operating system design. No different than if you want to build a platform, your own computerized communication system, right? And you want to network it with other networkers, right? Networks, nets, local area networks, wide area networks, large area networks, galactic networks, universal networks, so we can all communicate with each other, right? And travel around as a consciousness transportation vehicle. A Merkaba, light spirit body. Right? And so you realize when you're mapping the terrain, you're mapping mathematical codes and the corrections that need to take place, because when you're a polarity integrator, it means that you're naturally canceling out both bloodline polarities, which means negative and positive both get canceled out. Now you're always at zero. So you're phasing in and out because the original template was to experience zero, right? Between being inside and outside time, if you will, or inside matter, outside matter. So you could be wherever you wanted to be in a matter domain, main box, right? And so that allows us to be able to go anywhere, wherever the light is, wherever love is, we are. So that makes it simple to know and translate as a little boy that if I am what love is, then wherever love is, I am. Because you realize that is the single point from which it all began, which is eternal fire, which is eternal spirit of love. That's God's love. That's God's heart. That's God's crystalline atom seed. The atom seed. The atoms are cycling. The atmospherics that are in perfect balance, right? So that's non-polarized mind. That's non-polarized consciousness. That's pre-phase. Now we're in, now we're not. Now we're in, now you see us, now you don't. That's the visible landscape. So now you're into who the operator of the vehicle is, or the operator of the template, which is the architect. Arcing techs, tech operators, arcing sound and light, joined as one, right? So now there isn't any separation between the two. Now you become one with all creation. That's called oneness, right? One badass fire magnet, right? Right. Yeah. So that means that both magnets join forces to become one. So now you realize there isn't any separation between what I am and what you are that I'm giving love to that goes on forever. And when you experience that as a small child, that's the template that you're running. That's the DNA that you're running. That's God's DNA template. Right? I know. It's so anyway, happy. What is the date today? I forgot. I guess it's May 4th, right? 5/4, which is 9. Right? 9/9 is 81, which is 9 again. 3 is H2 plus 1. Have a good day. I share this with children because that's why we're here, right? Not that adults don't count, right? But that's one of the reasons why I love to work with children. And that actually is, and that's another recommendation that I could throw out there besides doing breath work with the sun and the living organism of a planet, right? Everything that is alive and living in nature. But here are some suggestions that I've done in the past that really help to lift your spirit, connect to the higher frequencies of the higher units of consciousness, right? When I was down here in Hilo, I don't live in Hilo anymore, but whenever I used to, there was a park down there. Right on what's known as the Bayfront. And it's a family park. It's a beach. It's got a nice little swimming hole, right, where the water comes in from the ocean. And there's a lifeguard there. And so I used to go there every single day because now you're experiencing the higher frequencies and the love and joy that children are playing on swings, going down sides, swimming in the ocean, and they're with their mothers, right? Usually during the day with their mothers, and the father might show up later on in the afternoon. And on the weekends, boy, it's all family day, right? And all the families that are together, having fun and enjoying and playing music and singing songs of dance and all the rest of that. So you're around higher consciousness energy when you're around people that are having fun, experiencing being in a state of joy. So I used to hang out at a lot of parks where there's a lot of children that are playing, boys and girls of different ages with their mothers, right? And now you're in a resonant field with the higher octave of the female, the mothers with their children, right? And children are having fun, exploring, so they're explorers, self-directed learning, right? And so that's another suggestion that I do. And of course, when I go out here during the day, I take I don't wear shoes anymore, hardly at all. When I was a child, I didn't, you know how that works. Always grounded, and so, by the way, thank you very much. I can't remember the name of that channel that put that up. The Keisha song, where you can experience the flow of the energy in the ocean with manta rays and all the fish that are playing music, and how beautiful. It made my heart cry, because you're feeling the musicians, how beautiful the music is to experience, which is the music that we play that is in balance and harmony and rhythm with the natural spiritual flow of creation mechanics, right? So no one's experiencing any distortions in the radio body. So the Star Radio Network is experiencing perfect balance, perfect rhythm, perfect harmony. So we're all tuned in to the master musicians, right? All the conductors, super conductivity, right? Super sensitivity. And so it looks like it's another beautiful day out here. See the sun? And here's a footnote. I got sent I shouldn't say I got sent. I experienced a short video that was put up by one of my friends on Facebook yesterday. I believe it was Christian 21, come to think of it. Yeah, Christian 21. And they were talking about vortices, about running bad, what I call bad energy, negative energy, just yucky stuff. And so they were showing the different parts or different places, vortexes on the planet, big ones, that are basically big sucking machines, of pulling on living light and living spirit with an oversoul. So this particular video was showing the different locations around the planet. And then all of a sudden it said, Hamakua, Hawaii. Bang. Yep. That's where I live. It's in Hamakua. Hamakua, which is North Coast. And the experiences that I've shared with everybody about what it's like, particularly if you go down to Lapahoe Beach Point, you look at it on a map. And that little inlet bay down there, which would be on the east side of the point, there's a little inlet there where the water is actually deep, but this is the March and April are the months during the year when the humpback whales birth their calves there. So I was there in 2018. Well, yeah, because late 2017, 2018, 2019, I left. I came back. I've been back and forth to this place a number of different times. But there is no doubt I've been there when there's been, we call it black energy. It's yeah, and so that was pretty interesting. These are just other confirmations you experience in your template, right? That sort of let you know why we're at where we're at when we're there, and why we're there when we're there at that moment. And that moment is a magnetic moment, which is high precision, right? Which is the opening and closing of the magnets, the planetary magnets, right? Opening and closing, the speed at which those magnets are opening and closing to complete what? A magnetic circuit. Superconductivity, which is super sensitivity, which is a super sensitive, super sensory, a super sensor, a super sensitive spirit with a soul, right? That means you're picking up on all of the fine stuff. Wow, I'm picking that up. Just like a pickup on a guitar, right? And then you transmute it so that those waves are in balance. Waves, lines of communication. I got a line on you. Have a beautiful day. Be good to yourselves. Bye now.